All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning back in to Wellness Wednesday. I am Stephanie Lomax, your host and your HR small to medium sized business expert. And I am here as always with my partner in crime on the wellness side, Dr. Corey Hicks, author, life coach, speaker, and our resident health and wellness expert. Welcome, Dr. Corey.
It is a pleasure to be here as always.
Thank you so much. So, as everybody knows, for the month of March, we have been tackling mental wellness. It's kind of
Yes.
our theme overall. And I think it's, we've talked about a few topics at this point. We kind of
Hmm.
unpacked what wellness is in general. We talked about
Yes.
how wellness has an overall impact on job
Hmm.
performance. And then last week, we talked about um, various parts of wellness in terms of growth and mindset and how to
Yes.
navigate through that. So now I think it's a perfect segue to kind of have this conversation about when your mindset matters the most. And there's probably a lot behind that we could talk about for hours.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit and dive into from a general standpoint. When is it that mindset really matters the most? Like, what types of things need
Hmm.
to be thought about from that standpoint?
Yeah. Well, mindsets are not just important for learning new skills. They can affect the way that we think about everything. There's a saying, and I love it. This old quote that says, "Whether you think you can or can't, it's true."
Hmm.
So, a tree is a product of its nurturing environment. And so the things that we latch on to, the things that we mentally focus on can certainly impact, our whole structure or whole way of thinking in terms of whether we are to be successful or whether things specifically may be a failure to us. But again, it's all about your mindset. It's all about the approach. It's about, the mindset of encouraging thoughts, an encouraging mindset specifically can lay the foundation for success, and then vice versa. Coming in with pessimistic thinking, a negative frame of mind specifically can lay the groundwork for failure too. So,
Yeah. So I think about that a lot from the perspective of, it's a journey to get there, right? So you've
yes,
got what has been poured into you from your upbringing.
that's right.
That certainly has an impact on your mindset, and then what you see,
That's right.
what you kind of see happening, and then as we become adults and we go into the workforce and we really start to get into more social type of environments,
Yes.
you pull what you know, right? So you're leaning
Hmm.
on experiences, but those experiences don't necessarily have to dictate the direction that you're going.
That's right. Exactly.
So I think that you're kind of hitting on a really key point there, because you have basically the option or the choice to
Hmm.
make a shift in your mindset.
That's right.
A lot of that, which I try to do um, every day, and for personally, as
Hmm.
life gets more challenging as you get older, you have to find ways to keep yourself elevated, right? Because
That's right.
as you get older, life will present challenges
And
and
ounces.
things like that can kind of pull you in one direction or another.
Hmm.
But you have to find ways to stay positive in doing that. You just on a daily basis. It has both outwardly physical and internally or intrinsic, actually extrinsic and intrinsic
Yes.
benefits, right? To be able to stay positive. So I think about that a lot, and keeping motivational quotes in front of you, meditation, reading positive things and things like that, just kind of stay above board and kind of making that decision to be positive on a daily basis, because it is a daily choice.
That's right.
Sometimes it's an hour by hour. Sometimes it's an hour by hour choice, just dealing, depending on what you're
Depending
dealing
on
with.
what
But
you're
it's,
going through.
yeah, but
Exactly.
certainly it's a daily choice that you got to kind of navigate through. So no,
Yeah.
I hear you on that. So what are some of the things that challenge keeping that, positive mindset in play? What are the types of things that challenge it? How can you recommend combating it? I know I've kind of shared a little bit of it, but those may not be all of them. So definitely, share some of the things that you know from your expertise as to how to manage through that.
So what happens when the mindset is challenged?
Yeah, for sure.
Some of the things that happen, the first thing is that we become defensive.
Mm,
And that's one of the things. So, that's just our natural who we are as an individual. The first thing that happens, we become defensive, apprehensive to correction or assistance when we're
mm-hmm,
challenged. Sometimes we even overwhelm. We spoke about in the past, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about eustress, which is good stress, and we spoke about de-stress, which overwhelms us. So when the mindset is challenged, for some of us, we can be overwhelmed, or you can certainly embrace the challenge and let it help you grow as an individual. So there's a saying, and I speak about it: you can't be both pitiful and powerful in the same body. You
mm,
have to choose one. So when you choose to be powerful, you embrace the resources around you, you embrace the mentorship, you embrace everything that comes along with people wanting you to succeed, whether you with an organization, the structured programs are in place, the trainings, you embrace all of the things. Sometimes they have people who mentor you, who, when you're going through challenges, whatever the case may be on work, you have someone to talk to. And then not just that, you have what we call a push partner. That push partner could be
mm-hmm,
your good friend, it could be your cousin, it could be your father, it could be your mother, someone that you can bounce things off of, and they're going to level set you, and they're going to tell you what you need to know, instead of
mm-hmm.
what you want to know or want to hear.
Yeah,
So that's the difference, when you're dealing with what happens when the mindset is challenged. You have to put a great support system around you to put yourself in a position to be successful.
yeah, yeah. And I think, as we grow, so I was mentioning earlier about, the experiences that you bring with you
Yeah.
into adulthood, right? Some
Mhm.
of that is also understanding. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, who you allow to pour into you,
Oh, that's big. That's
right? So that plays a huge part in your mindset and when it's challenged. I have a very very good friend, probably, I mean, I would say, my best friend, who when I say one thing that might not be, I'm teetering, she
yes.
is immediately, nope, so here's what we're doing. What I mean? So
Right.
she's immediately there, and it pulls me out of that uh woe is me kind of mentality that I could allow myself to kind of sink into.
That's right.
And I think that, you know, um having those moments, you need to have those moments, right? You need to allow yourself to feel.
Yes.
However, you can't live there,
Yes.
right? Because living there then allows everything to then collapse on top, right? So to your point, you can't be pitiful and powerful in the same, in you can't, those two things cannot coexist.
That's right.
Um yeah.
You have to understand, again, I've talked about this before. It's a three-step process. You're justified, certified, and elevated. The justification process or period doesn't feel good. It's
Yeah.
tough. That's when everything is coming down on you, and it's really like a pruning process. When you have a challenged mindset, that's when we call it being stretched, when you're going
Mm-hmm.
through that particular period. And then when you're certified, that's when you finally have weathered the storm. It's like, man, I made it. I wanted to give up. I wanted to quit, but I persevered and I made it. And then the elevation period comes through learning, through the learned behaviors, through the things, the principles that you learn through going through your trials and tribulations and your struggles, that prepares you for the next phase. So when you get to that next phase and you see these things happen, they don't necessarily put you in a position that you feel flustered, or you're stressed out, because now you're equipped and prepared to deal with it. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think I had mentioned in one of our prior talks that no experience is ever lost. So
Oh,
you
that's
carry
right.
that stuff with you,
Exactly.
and it allows you to kind of, it's like a building block
I
almost.
totally agree.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I certainly hope that those listening are, have tuned in to kind of the message we were trying to convey today
Mhm.
about, how important the mindset is and when it matters the most. As we have started doing in our kind of closing, we provide everybody with this a wellness quote for the week. So, what do you have for us this week?
Well, what I just want to say is that perseverance isn't just a word stated or described, but a commitment to a purpose greater than your desire to give up. So, whatever you do, you have to persevere. Don't give up. When people hear perseverance, it sounds beautiful. Sometimes it sounds complex, but there's a
Mhm.
lot that goes into perseverance, and it's about weathering the storm. It's about being justified, certified, and elevated. And to your point, knowing that no experience is a wasted experience, but everything that you do places you in a position to be sustained once you finally get to your ultimate desired goal, or a place that you in life that you want to get to. So
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you as always for being here
awesome.
this
You're
week.
welcome.
And everyone, please make sure you tune in next week. We'll be back next Wednesday for our last episode for March. Actually, we had
Yes.
5 episodes in March. It was a 5 week month for Wednesdays at least. So we'll be back next week with our last episode to kind of close out Wellness Wednesdays for March in terms of the theme regarding mental wellness. We look forward to seeing you then. And until then, be well. Thank you, Dr. Corey.
You're welcome.
All right. See everybody. Thank you.